Hello, and welcome to the 61st episode of Anime Talk. On this episode, I'm going to be discussing and giving my thoughts on an anime I recently rewatched, and that is Dimension W. Let's get into it. Originally published in Square Enix's seinen manga magazine, Young Gangan, from September of 2011 to November of 2015, and then in monthly Big Gangan from December of 2015 to June of 2019, and was later licensed in North America by Yen Press. Dimension W is set in the year 2036, where really smart people discovered that a fourth dimensional access called Dimension W exists. With that, devices that became known as coils were created to draw the inexhaustible energy that is known to exist within Dimension W. From this, the company known as New Tesla Energy and governments around the world came together to build 60 towers around the world that became known as the World System, which is responsible for powering the entire world. The anime was produced by Studio 3HZ and Orange, and premiered on January 10th, 2016. The anime consists of 12 episodes, with a later Blu-ray release including 5 special episodes, and what was originally an unaired OVA was also bundled into that later Blu-ray release as well. Now I want to take you through each episode here, hitting most if not all of the main points of each episode. Episode 1, Collector. Koyoma is a collector that hates coils for some reason. Mysterious girl with some sort of robot is seen when she defends herself from the Wan brothers. Robot girl also tries to make off with illegal coils. The brothers hand, but Koyoma stops her. The mysterious robot girl's father is Shido Urizaki, the person credited with founding New Tesla Energy. Dr. Urizaki hates New Tesla Energy because they're responsible for the death of his wife and daughter and refuses to go back there despite Albert Schumann trying once they find him. Dr. Urizaki uses some device that shorts out all coils in a radius and also affects Robot Girl, and then Dr. Urizaki disappears after the device goes off. The Robot Girl, assuming that her father died, wants to become a collector. Episode 2, Loser. There's a popular art thief named Loser that is about to pull off a heist. Koyoma and Mira are sent to the heist under the guise that illegal coils may be involved. Koyoma confronts Loser, who knows information about Koyoma's past, specifically about a Grendel unit. Mira tracks their camera feed and finds Loser's daughter. Koyoma and Loser get attacked by the Curator's robots, which are powered by illegal coils. They're easily defeated, but the Curator wants to cover up things, but causes a dimensional collapse upon trying to remove the illegal coils. Loser gets what he came for and runs off with coil number 007. Curator winds up in a horrific fusion state with the robots after the dimensional collapse. Episode 3, Chase the Numbers. Mira gets paid 6 million yen for doing a good job. Koyoma helps her purchase a trailer so she can have a more private space for herself that she cleans and furnishes. Some kids playing around Koyoma's property get in an incident where some of the junk cars fall and Mira has to spring into action, thus revealing she's a robot to them. Kids get a bit traumatized seeing Mira's head fly off. Koyoma visits a friend that gives them information about the numbers, mostly that they're prototype coils that were created before the towers were created, and that they pull energy from deep within Dimension W that makes them very dangerous. Police investigate Koyoma for property negligence. Koyoma visits one of the tower's COOs, Claire Skyheart, and she is the one who bailed him out because her daughter was one of the 4 kids playing around his property, which he had warned them about several times. Claire and Albert have a chat about what they think Dr. Urizaki's end goal was, mentions her conversation with Koyoma. A group of kids visit Mira one last time to make sure that she's doing okay. Episode 4, Mystery Lurking in Yasugami Lake. Albert hires Koyoma and Mira to investigate the drowning of novelist Shijiro Yakaki. While reading some of the author's books, Mira gets herself trapped in a vision that overlaps past and present, which leads to being attacked by a ghost. Albert tells Koyoma that a student intern had activated number 189 21 years ago when the hydroelectric dam was built. Two people enter a woman's room because apparently whenever activity is happening, it's connected to when she sleeps. Koyoma tries to help, but they get away with the woman. Episode 5, Potentials of the Dead. We learned that Shijiro Sakaki is actually Shiro from 21 years ago. People in the hotel have to deal with these weird fog monsters, and they figure out that bottled water works on them, so Albert activates the sprinklers to deal with the monsters. Mira is able to use her own logic to override the logic of the world she gets trapped in and frees herself. Mira tells Koyoma that number 89 is hidden within the dam, and that this coil has stored an entire alternate reality within Dimension W on the night of the flooding that was caused by Shiro, that he was able to save all the students from drowning except for Marissa. Shiro then changed his name to Shijiro and kept all his friends alive within number 189 and subsequently protecting them from the real world. In the end, Mira shatters Shiro's perceptions, which allows him to see Marissa, who actually did survive. Once Mira powers down number 189, the entire alternate reality and everyone residing within it is no more. Episode 6, Wind of Africa. We meet Prince Salva, who is the CEO of Central 60. Salva learns that Prince Loai has disappeared and isn't happy. Koyoma visits the grave of who I assume is his wife. Mary and Kurogi examine Mira and don't learn anything new. Loai isn't happy that there isn't anything fun to do in Japan, sees Koyoma, thinks he's a samurai, and gets him into a little squabble. Koyoma introduces himself and walks off, but Loai follows him and continues to follow him around a festival. Koyoma goes to a clothing shop where his sister works, and Loai tries on samurai outfits. Sisters give Koyoma a new jacket. Salva's bodyguards catch up to Loai and take him with them. Koyoma gives him a parting gift. Loai gets in a fight with one of Mary's bodyguards and does quite a lot of damage to 4. Koyoma and Mira show up to learn about a letter and some sort of test for collectors. Salva mentions something to the Central 47 CEO about something he's planning to have go down on Easter Island. Episode 7, Call from the Past. Koyoma gets in a fight with some guys. Random woman asks him for help, who is stuck behind a bus, and he gets her out. She introduces herself as Miyabi, and then walks off. Some of Koyoma's and Mabi's, oh my god. We see some of Koyoma and Miyabi's life together in college. Miyabi gets diagnosed with an incurable disease, so Koyoma tracks down a woman who is working on something that could help her. Koyoma gets an offer to join a unit known as Grendel, and he does. Koyoma and crew go on a mission to Easter Island. Koyoma wakes up to the knowledge that he and Albert were the only ones who survived the mission, and that Miyabi didn't survive the surgery. Back in the present, Koyoma has a new car that looks an awful lot like a Nexus LFA, but I don't know that much about cars. Salva proposes a plan to the board of New Tesla Energy that the board supports. Salva throws a big party and invited a bunch of collectors to propose a challenge to collect a coil on Easter Island. Albert is personally flying Mira and Koyoma because Koyoma wants to bring his new car since he doesn't use coils while the other collectors do. As they approach the island, things start to go very badly. Episode 8, The Island That Fell Into Nothingness. Koyoma and Mira and Albert make it to Easter Island before the others do and drive off. We see a flashback with Prince Salva and Prince Loai around the time when the Central 60 Tower is being built. The others made it to the island, but Salva and one of his bodyguards are not in the best condition. Loser and his daughter talk about what route to take. The others find a place to put Salva and the bodyguard where they can rest. Loai plays a video of Salva talking about what they are there to do and what the reward is. Some weird energy spears attack, and Loai deals with it and takes off to carry on with Salva's mission. Koyoma uses a flash grenade to get past some large robots. Another robot is fighting 2 collectors when Mira and Koyoma step in and take down the big robot. Another collector is fighting some robots when another collector injects him with something and is going to do more to him. Koyoma, Mira, and the other two collectors drive through a tunnel through a portion of complete darkness, but they make it through. Loser shows up at the very end. Episode 9, The Key to Adrastea. Both Koyoma and Loser had a feeling the other would be there. Loser decides that Koyoma shouldn't be allowed to continue since he doesn't remember something that happened years ago. The spear appears and Koyoma touches it and gets knocked out. We go to Koyoma and Albert during training. We see an uprising in Africa against New Tesla Energy. Salva convinces his father to give him the authority to deal with the uprising, and Grendel is there too. Someone attempts to assassinate Salva, but his wife takes the bullet. He orders robots to fire on a building where the shot came from, which happens to be where Lawai is, and ends up killing a young Lawai. Grendel goes after some blue hair guy that is at war with New Tesla Energy. Koyoma is allowed to see Miyabi, who is going to emergency surgery before his next mission. Koyoma realizes that he is seeing memories and that blue-haired guy is talking about possibilities and whatnot. Mira learns what happened to Miyabi. Episode 10, Reviving a Nightmare. Some big robots come to attack Mira and crew and they fight. Mira gets a little carried away and flies into the void, but is saved by Koyoma, who says she did a good job. Koyoma reveals that Haruka Seemeyer is responsible for everything going on, and that he didn't die like everyone else thinks. Lawai shows up, but is badly damaged. Koyoma and crew run off. Before those two collectors show up, Chrysler and Loser fight and reveal that both of them have numbers in their bodies. They're both also after some really powerful coil they assume is on Easter Island. Koyoma and crew make it inside the facility, and it's revealed that the collector known as KK is pulling the strings, even using ex-Grendel people to fight against Koyoma. Lawai tries to help but ends up sacrificing himself. Koyoma goes berserk and almost kills KK, but Mira stops them. Find out that Lawai has more than one body. Episode 11, Lost Genesis. The guy that Loser was fighting, his suit malfunctions. Loser gains a fifth numbers and puts it on his suit. Lawai has more than one body that he controls from wherever his real body is. The reveal of the coil that they're after is called Genesis. They go after it but are attacked by more robots. Loser reveals who he really is and that he was on Easter Island when the accident happens. Loser sends Koyoma and Mira into his memories. This reveals that Genesis worked when Koyoma took it from Haruka. Haruka shows Loser that his wife is now some giant tentacle creature. Episode 12, The Future We Reached. Loser uses all 5 numbers to open a gate. Loser tries to pull Haruka through but gets distracted and loses an arm and one of the numbers. Mira goes into Kiyoma's memories to reconstruct them. Koyoma remembers what happens and wakes up. Koyoma lures Haruka into his memories to show him that he destroyed Genesis rather than using it. This causes Haruka to lose it more, to the point he wants to destroy the planet. Koyoma and crew use their plan to deal with Haruka once for all. Koyoma gets in a bit of trouble and Mira saves him, but her coil goes off, but they're fine. Lawai saves Koyoma and Mira. Loser dies. And yeah, that's pretty much the major points of what happens in the anime. Now, I'm sure that a big question for some people is, can I watch the anime and then pick up in the manga where the anime leaves off? The answer to that is yes, you can, but if you want to, as you'd be picking up at chapter 75 of the manga, but there are also some story arcs before that point that were severely cut down and even cut out of the anime that I would not personally want to skip out on. So I'd honestly say that even watching the anime, I would start from the beginning of the manga personally. The odd thing about the anime is that it was technically never truly canceled in the sense that we know it. Rather, they just never decided to keep going, and there's no real reason why they didn't. None that I can find anyway. I've seen that people have not been too happy with the way the manga ended. They could tell it was getting cut short because plot stuff was jumping around, happening off screen, and the relationship between Mira and Kiyoma never really changed past him being able to tolerate her a little more, which is how they are at the end of the anime. I tried to find somewhere how exactly the manga ends, but I can't, as much as I'd like to know. Now, the only reason that I think the anime ended when it did is because as far as the manga was at that time, well, that's where it was. The first arc of the manga concluded in 2016, which is when the anime started, so I believe they chose not to continue it because they just couldn't, not without the rest of the manga. At this point, there could always be the possibility that the anime be resurrected and they do the second arc, but I don't believe they will at this point, given that the manga ended 4 years ago, at the time of this recording, in 2020. I think that if it was popular enough and there had been enough demand for the anime to return, it would have come back 4 years ago. I mean, I like Dimension W, but I just don't see it being as popular to get a continuation of the anime. Yes, at one point I had read the manga, but it's been so long I don't remember any of it. Perhaps someday I'll get back to it and see how the series truly concludes. But, on its own, I do think that the anime is definitely worth a watch. I think it tells a wonderful story, has wonderful characters, a cool setting, great music, and good voice acting if you watch the dub like I did. The only complaint I've ever had about this is that there are too many Mira ass shots that linger just a little too long sometimes, but that's really it. Just go watch this. I don't think you'll be disappointed. But that's going to do it for this episode, so if you like this kind of content, feel free to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.